I want to discuss a type of graphing problem that my math students have a lot of trouble with in MyLab, and it's graphing a transformed exponential function. So let's get started. The first thing you'd want to do is work the problem on paper, and I'm not going to teach you how to do that part. That's a whole different series of videos. But say you do, and you see that the parent function is y equals 3 to the x, and then you go through and you find your x transformations, which are shift left 1 first and then reflect over the y-axis. And then your y transformations, let's say, are stretch vertically by a factor of 4 and shift down 3. And after you do all of those pieces, you end up with a sketch of a graph on your paper that looks something like this. So how do you do that in MyLab? Well, you open the graphing tool and you need to click on the exponential tool here to access the features of graphing an exponential function. So click the exponential tool and it tells you to click the graph to plot your curve. So just click anywhere. And what that does is it gives you this generic exponential function with some transformations options at the bottom of your screen. The biggest problem that my students have is, and it's kind of weird, the base of the function needs to be adjusted to match that of your function. So in this case, the base of our exponential function is 3. In my opinion, this option should be up at the top of this screen. So students miss it often. So I'll click here and I'll change my base to 3. So I've got it changed to 3. Then I'm going to work through each of the transformations one at a time. So the first transformation is an x transformation shift left 1. So that's a horizontal shift. So I'll click the slider and move it over to -1. And you can see the graph moved left 1. Then my next x transformation is to reflect my graph over my y-axis. So I'll click the checkbox and the graph has been reflected. Next, I've got a y transformation where I stretch vertically by 4. So I go to my vertical stretch or shrink and I drag my bar to 4. So now it's stretched by a factor of 4. And last, I will shift my graph down 3. So I'll go to my vertical shift, slide it over to -3, and now my graph should be correct. It should be an accurate version of my sketch that I have here if I've done all the transformations right. Don't touch the transformations that you don't have. So we didn't have a reflection across the x-axis. We also didn't have a horizontal stretch or shrink, so we didn't mess with those. So at this point, click the x. You can see that your graph here has an asymptote at -3 like it's supposed to. It looks about the same. I mean, this is a sketch, of course. And then you click save and you're all done.